I'm Rob Shields, and this is Peace Talks, the podcast that covers everything to do with competitive jigsaw puzzling. Emma Quirke won the UK Nationals in 2025. Rachael Chambers won it in 2026. Does that make them bitter rivals? Quite the contrary. In this episode, we dig into their intertwined history, how their differing approaches to puzzling land them within seconds of each other over and over and over again, do a deep dive on their World Series experience, and find out why they may be one of the strongest pairs out there. Emma Quirke and Rachael Chambers, thank you for joining Peace Talks.
Thanks for having us, Rob.
Hey, Rob. Thanks for having us.
Let's begin at the beginning. Emma, what's your earliest puzzle memory?
I think I've always been puzzling. Like, since I was as small as 3 or 4, I can always remember puzzling. Mostly with my mom and my granny as well. And I remember having these kind of foam jigsaws I used to do. And I did them so many times. I used to do them upside down and back to front, and yeah, loved them.
Yeah, I've heard you say that you did puzzles as a young child where you were doing them with the image side facing down.
Yeah.
That seems crazy.
Yeah, it was a bit, yeah. I kind of didn't realize that everybody didn't do it like that, I think. I just loved it so much. And then by the age of 6, I was doing 1,000 pieces.
And so when you were doing them upside down, were you just trying to squeeze the most excitement out of the puzzles that you had, or?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I wouldn't have had many, so would have just been doing them a million times. And I suppose knowing them so well, I could do them upside down easy.
Have you done them upside down since, like, in the last few years?
Yeah, I run a puzzle club in school with children, and when we're doing like races against each other, they always make me puzzle upside down just to make it a bit harder. Levels out the playing field a bit.
I guess that seems like a great way of practicing. Like it seems like a great way. Like, it is a non-image puzzle. You're only doing based on shape.
Yeah,
whenever
exactly.
I've tried to do that, it takes me hours and hours. Like, how does that go for you?
Well, normally it wouldn't be many pieces, like less than 100, so it doesn't take too long.
My understanding is that you've been puzzling your whole life, right?
Yeah.
I saw a note somewhere that said that as a teenager, you kept your puzzling secret from everyone but your family. Is that true?
Not really a secret, but I suppose I just wouldn't have spoken about it, or like it wouldn't be something you'd really talk about. You know, they're just something you did at home and no one else really had to know, I suppose. But then as soon as you start competing, it all changes.
You were competitive in other things.
Yeah, I was a competitive swimmer until I was in college, and then I stopped.
And were you like really competitive? Like, did you have a drive to win, or were you just having a good time?
Mostly just having a good time. I was very similar to the way I do the puzzles. I would be chatting until right to the point where I had to get into the water and start, which is kind of still the same way I do with the puzzles.
Is that right?
I was watching back the live streams, and I think it's hilarious just seeing me and Rachael up standing and talking to everyone, and literally 10 seconds before it starts. It's hilarious.
That's funny. I did notice you guys hop up and then just start chatting with each other at the end of things. I didn't notice you doing it at the beginning as well.
Yeah. It's good to keep us calm, I think. Yeah, during a bit as well.
During as well.
Rachael had a little accident with her bag at one stage
in Munich.
Pieces went everywhere. And yeah, I had to tease her a bit of that, of course.
Okay, well, let's bookmark that, because I definitely want to hear about that. That's not in my notes, so we should talk about that as well.
It wasn't on the live stream.
Secret things. We're unlocking secret things. Rachael, what about you? What's your earliest puzzle memory?
Do you know, it's so funny listening to Emma talk, because I think you could almost copy and paste our stories. They're identical. Even down to being a competitive swimmer. I was a competitive swimmer as a child until I got to university as well. So yeah, really funny. But yeah, in terms of puzzling, again, I just can't remember a time where I didn't do puzzles. I've done them my whole life as a kid. Early memories, I had lots of little cousins, and we had this giant floor puzzle that I used to help them do when they were like really little. I think it was probably about 50 pieces, and then there were cutouts of like Humpty Dumpty and like the cow jumping over the moon and things like that. So we used to do that a lot with them on the floor. And then also my dad used to go out on Monday nights down the pub to play pool with his friends. So it was just me and my mum. The 2 younger kids would be put to bed, and I'd get to stay up a little bit late with my mum. And we'd watch hospital drama on TV and have a board on our laps and be doing a puzzle while we watched TV together. And it was always like Ravensburger, Disney princess type puzzles. But like that's as early as I can remember, and they were already like 1,000-piece puzzles. So I can't really remember doing like smaller piece count puzzles very much.
So you both got to 1,000-piece puzzles fairly early. Did that become the staple of the puzzles that you did, or did you do a wide variety of sizes? A lot of people I talked to, like they ended up just doing 1,000 pieces as they grew up, and then like the move back to 500 was sort of because of competitive puzzling. Is that true for you guys as well?
That was definitely true for me as well. Yeah.
And yeah, I'd say the exact same for me. The only exception is I stopped doing like competitive sport when I was young because I've had lots of knee injuries, and so I had some surgeries. And so when I had surgery, sometimes I would get out like some bigger piece count puzzles, like but only sort of 2,000-3,000, but just spend days doing those on the table.
So Rachel, when you were competing in swimming, apparently, did you have a similar approach to Emma in that you were just there to have a good time, or were you like there to actually compete?
Exactly the same, just there to have a good time. I just loved swimming. And it's the same how I feel now with puzzles. I just love doing the puzzles, and the competition is just like an extra like bonus on top.
Yeah, that's amazing. Emma, tell me how you heard about competitive jigsaw puzzling.
Well, I had a friend of mine who knew I loved puzzles, and he always knew that I was puzzling all the time. And he saw a video of the world's jigsaw puzzle competition online, and he just sent it to me kind of as half as a joke and half being serious. And it was just a video of the world, and he was saying, "You should enter this." And I kind of thought, "Oh, that's really funny," but didn't really think any more of it. And then I looked at it again, and I was showing my mom, and I was like, "Oh, this actually looks pretty cool." And then we said, "Will we enter?" So then, yeah, we decided to enter. And literally, the first year I went, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't even know there was live streams. I hadn't watched any videos, didn't know what to expect at all. All I knew was that it was 500 pieces. So I didn't really have any 500 pieces. I think I had like two 500-piece jigsaw puzzles. So I had to go out to the shops and buy a couple, and timed myself doing one and realized I was actually pretty good. And yeah, thought I'd do okay. So yeah, booked flights to Spain and off we went.
So did you book flights to Spain after you did a timed puzzle, or were you just like, well, I'm going to Spain regardless, I should see how I'm doing?
I actually can't remember what order. I'd say it was all in the same day though. Yeah.
But you found out once you turned your mind to it, you were committed to going.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, like the first year we kind of went half as a joke and just to have a holiday and see how we got on.
Right.
And then like that, I just ended up getting addicted to it and haven't stopped doing competition since.
So that is like, I definitely can imagine going off to Spain for a holiday. It's a bit of a commitment though, in so much as that if you do well enough, like you're involved in a few things. Were you just doing solo, or you had some family along? Were you doing pairs and teams as well?
Yeah, I just did solo and pairs the first year, and I actually dragged my dad along to do pairs with me. So he wouldn't really be a puzzler. Like he would do them sometimes in the house with me. If I have a large piece puzzle, he'd start putting in a few pieces, but he never would be competitive with it. So he joined in, and yeah, we got through it. We were both very nervous the first year for sure, but it was good fun.
Now, you ended up doing actually really well for Let's Go to Spain on a Lark and hang out amongst the world's best competitive jigsaw puzzlers. Tell me a little bit about how you felt going in, as like you didn't know much, I imagine. You sit down, you go through the first heat, and how that evolved through sort of when you finished 33rd overall,
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
first timer who literally this is their first in-person puzzle competition.
Yeah, yeah, it was shocking. I didn't really even expect to get through to the second round. I just kind of said, "Oh, we'll go and see," and then really enjoyed the first round. But I was so nervous. I didn't expect like the atmosphere when you walk into the dome. It's crazy. Like there's so many people there from all over, and like everyone's chatting, and everyone seems to know everybody, especially at the start. So we kind of felt a bit lost at the start, but then like after a day, people start talking to you and you get to make friends. And we met a few of the other Irish and the English crowd that were there, and yeah, got on really well. And then got through to the next heat and ended up doing really well in the second heat. I think I came fifth or sixth. So I was delighted with that one. And then got to the finals. So yeah, it was really fun. I was shocked, but I loved it.
When you finished 33rd in the finals, were you like, you were shocked, it sounds like, but it seems also extremely encouraging, a lot of fun. Like, were you exhilarated at the end of that, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like straight away after the final, I was like, we've got to come back next year. And I didn't even really know there was like other competitions in other countries and stuff yet. I didn't know about the nationals, so I just kind of thought the Worlds was a once-off event every year. So I was like, we've got to come again next year. So I think before we'd even left Spain, we were like writing it in for the year after.
So speaking of nationals, if I understand things correctly, almost the very next thing you do is help to found the Irish Jigsaw Puzzle Association. Is that true?
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah. So I met another girl, Siobhan Quinn. She'd been doing Worlds for a few years at that stage. So I met her. She's from Ireland, and we met over in Spain. And then we said, oh, we'll have to do some puzzles when we come home together. So we did that, and then we decided we'd set up an Irish association. So it took a while to grow, but it's doing really well now. We actually just had a puzzle swap this morning, and we had about 30 people there, and there was so many jigsaw puzzles. Like it was crazy. So it was lovely. Yeah.
About when do you recall you heard about or started thinking about going to the Worlds? And I can't remember if we said this, but this would be the 2024 Worlds.
Yeah.
Was it close to when the Worlds was happening, or did you have plenty of advance notice?
No, I think it was literally August, and then the World was in September, so there wasn't much notice at all.
This is such an Emma story.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more here, because I just love this is not the first time we've heard this kind of story, and I just love the idea that like something clicks, right? It's like, oh yeah, I really enjoy jigsaw puzzling. There's competitive jigsaw puzzling. Now this is the entire thing that I do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when I came home from Spain and I landed in Ireland, there was straight away like a load of newspapers contacting me and a load of like television. I was on the television twice over in Ireland, and it was crazy. I was on the radio a lot, and it just felt so funny for a hobby that I didn't really talk about, and I just did it home for fun, to be something that people actually wanted to like watch on TV and listen to on the radio. Me talking about it, it was mad, but it was great.
Rachel, you say that this is typical Emma. Is it like does Emma have a history of just diving full on into something that she wants to do?
I guess so, and also just like that, like spontaneity of just let's just give it a go. Like it'll be fun. Like I think that's very Emma.
I think like for a lot of the ones in the World Series there, I was rocking up 5 minutes before it started saying to Rachel, what round are we doing now? And she'd be saying, oh, it's the panoramic. Or
I'd be like super well prepared, there early, sat down, ready to go. And Emma would be like 2 minutes before it started, what puzzle is this now? Like it's just, we're very different. But
was that distracting at all, Rachel, when she was
not at all.
Like, because I can imagine maybe you're the kind of person who wants to get in the zone and be ready.
No, not at all.
So Rachel, tell us a little bit about your sort of background on the competitive side. How did you first hear about it?
Yeah, so I actually heard about it like quite a long time before I started competing. So I used to watch a YouTube channel called the Try Guys, and they did a series called 4v1, and basically the four guys would try and beat one expert doing something. And they did a video which featured Karen puzzles, and the four of them tried to beat her doing a 500-piece puzzle and failed miserably. But I found out about Karen Puzzle's YouTube channel at that point. I think it was like 2021, 2022 time. And so started following her YouTube channel. And I think 2022 Worlds, she didn't attend, but she did some like videos talking about there's a World Championships for jigsaw puzzling. So I went back and managed to watch some of the live streams. And then when 2023 Worlds and 2024 Worlds came around, it was like in my diary, and I'd like in the evenings catch up with all the live streams and follow along. So I knew it existed for a long time, but I just didn't ever think it was something that like I would do. I guess it was only in Spain, and it was this World Championships, and the idea of traveling all the way to Spain to do something that I'd never tried or competed at before, just to me, it wasn't something that I thought I could do. Well, I was obviously, Emma had the complete opposite reaction. She was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. Whereas I was like, oh, I'm not so sure.
What was the tipping point?
Well, during the 2024 live stream, and actually I was really like hooked on that because at that point I was laid up on crutches, having had a knee injury. So I had nothing to do but watch every minute of the live stream. And Annika from the UK JPA came on the commentary in one of the rounds, and she announced that there was going to be next year the first UK Nationals, and tickets were going to go on sale sort of live at that moment. And that was sort of the tipping point, because it's like, well, traveling to Spain for the World Championship seems a little bit too crazy, but traveling a couple of hours in the UK, yeah, to go to like UK Nationals seems more achievable. And that's when I like then bought some of the 2024 Worlds puzzles when they went on sale, and then compared my times to the Worlds, realized that actually I'm not bad at this. Maybe I could go to UK Nationals and do reasonably, but I didn't really know like who the UK puzzler was or how fast they were. So I didn't really have a lot of expectations going in, apart from like I wasn't going to be super slow.
And so did you do any prep for UK Nationals aside from checking your times?
Yeah, I guess just buying some 500-piece Ravensburgers, because I hadn't really got any 500-piece puzzles. So just getting my hands on more 500-piece puzzles, giving them a go, and actually with a timer on to see like about how I did.
Emma, you had come out of national or out of Worlds, and UK Nationals was on your radar maybe right away as well.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, I met Annika also over at Worlds, and she suggested coming over. So yeah, I did the UK one as well, and that was the first time I met Rachael as well, which was lovely. She came and surprised us all. We were like, "Who is this Rachael Chambers doing so well in her first competition?"
Emma, did you do any prep on the way? Because you'd done Worlds, so you had now a sense of who was out there, what they were doing, and maybe even how they were puzzling relative to how you puzzled. Did that impact you in terms of making you want to do any kind of preparation for the UK Nationals?
Yeah, definitely. Once I got home from Worlds, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get good at this now. I can practice, and so I bought a lot of 500s. And well, I suppose I started with a small amount, and then just started buying more and more and practicing them over and over again. The UK were actually doing a kind of a speed run thing where you had to buy a puzzle, and then you had to do it as many times as you wanted, and then upload your time. So I did that a few times at the UK Association, which was really good actually to kind of get me started.
You both came to UK Nationals, Emma with a little bit of experience under your belt, Rachael just fresh off the desire to do it. I imagine, Emma, this was more approachable for you because it was after being at Worlds, which was a big event. Like this is sort of scaled down. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely. I suppose I got a shock when I walked in and I was sitting at table number one. Felt like it was a bit, I didn't expect to be there. And there was also like a bit more pressure now because going to Worlds, obviously no one knew how I could puzzle or who I was. But then walking into the UK Nationals, straight away people were like, oh, you're Emma Quirke, you were in the Worlds. And they were saying like, oh, you're going to win this. And it was a bit more pressure, but it was still really fun. And we got such lovely puzzles.
I remember turning to my boyfriend and being like, oh my gosh, that's Emma Quirke from Worlds. There's no way I'll ever beat her. She's so good.
Yeah, what was it like, Emma, to suddenly be a person like, I'm going to guess that 6 months prior to this, you would have no clue that this was even possible. Maybe a little more because I think we went from September to April. So before Worlds, you wouldn't have had any clue that you would have A, done particularly well, and B, that people would have paid attention to you, and C, that you would have been at a competition where people are sort of whispering behind their backs and pointing at you as the sort of the elite all-star to come into that. What was that like?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird feeling. Like even for UK Nationals this year, me and Rachel were walking around together and people would come up to us and say, oh my gosh, Rachael and Emma, can I get a picture with you? And like asking us for like autographs and like things like this that you just don't expect, and you kind of think, are they messing or are they serious? I kind of never know how to respond.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice though. It's lovely, and it is a great way of meeting people as well, because people come up and approach you and then you get talking, so you get to meet a lot more people when you are kind of well known in the community, I suppose, which is good.
Emma, you end up winning that competition.
Yeah.
In a substantial fashion. And then this sort of unknown person comes in second, about 6.5-ish minutes behind you. It sounds like you guys had started a conversation, just maybe a friendly conversation at that point, like, hey, how are you, sort of thing?
I think it was just Emma saying to me, like, oh, well done, like, and it was just like, who are you, kind of thing, like.
Right, the worldly Emma Quirke comes by and says hi to you.
Yeah, because I remember Emma was sort of being whisked off to go and talk to these like journalists and things, and so like we didn't get lots of chance to talk that day. But then afterwards we were on Instagram and messaging, and that's when really it started.
Yeah, and she can't get rid of me now. We're talking all the time.
Well, because Emma started saying to me, you've got to come to us, you've got to come to Worlds. So that was it, really.
Wow. So at some point, I guess, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, at some point you guys decide that you're going to pair together. Is that a conversation that sort of evolves over time, or is there a moment where that decision happened?
Yeah, I think it was Worlds this year. We met outside the Dome and we did a puzzle together. And Rachel, you might remember, was it 17 minutes?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We did it really fast. It was that one student days, so not even the easiest one really.
Mhm.
And we did it super fast and we were like, oh wow, we make a pretty good pair. Maybe we should actually do it together in competitions.
And we ended up doing about 4 in a row because we just loved like pairing together so much. And straight away it was like a click, like the way we puzzle and like our approach to it all. Like we're just there to have fun, and we're like puzzling and we're chatting while we're puzzling, and we're not taking it too seriously, and we're still then able to do those good times. So it just felt right from like the first minute we puzzled together, really.
Definitely. And I think even if you watch the live streams of us doing a puzzle together, it's hilarious because we're just chatting and laughing,
the whole way
through.
That's awesome. I want to circle back here though. Rachel, you came in second in that UK Nationals competition. Surprise?
Yeah, a big surprise. And I mean, you can see it if you go back and watch the live stream. Like, I cannot believe it. I'm like holding up 2 to the camera, like, am I second? Like, I could not believe it. And it just started this kind of like snowball effect. I found a pair on this pairs finder to then do pairs with later that day, and then we came second in pairs as well. So, and then everyone started saying to me about coming to the World Championships and talking to people like Emma. And she was so encouraging and tell me what to expect because she'd just been the year before. And also all of the UK JPA were telling me like, we're going to go, there's a group of us, and like trying to bring me into it. And then also like, did you know there's online competitions you could do to practice? And I didn't know that they existed. So like starting to do some of the online competitions, and I just felt like I was being brought into the community really, which was such a like nice feeling. So going to Worlds suddenly seemed less intimidating, I guess.
Hearing you talk about the UK community is sort of heartwarming because the way that you describe it, it's very welcoming. It's very embracing. Talk a little bit about that for those who aren't familiar with it.
Yeah, so the UK JPA is run by Annika, Jason, and James. All 3 are just lovely individuals, and they're growing the community in the UK by putting on more events, more competitions, but they've really got to focus on that community aspect the whole time. So, I mean, when we go to Worlds, every evening there's a bar or a restaurant where, like, if you want to go and meet UK people, this is where we're going to be. And at competitions in the evening, we'll go to the pub for dinner, or they'll host puzzle chicken events in the evenings for fun and things like that. So they're really focused on it being inclusive and bringing everyone into the community and not just doing the competition and then everyone goes home.
Emma, I would love for you to sort of give us the organizer's perspective on this same thing, right? Because you've got the Irish Jigsaw Puzzle Association that you were co-founder of. I would love to hear a little bit about your thoughts on developing a community.
Yeah, it's going really well. I think it is hard to find people who are interested in puzzles at the start. And a lot of people we do find, like Rachel said, it's kind of more a community aspect. They're not really competitive. They don't want to be doing speed puzzling. They just want to do puzzling for the fun, which is quite important too. And it's definitely great to do that as well. But this year in World, we had about 10 from Ireland. So it was a few more than we expected. And that was great. And it is really good. We joined with the UK Association a lot for their socialising as well, which was lovely.
It's partly how me and Em got to know each other.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in Ireland we're kind of hosting a puzzle swap like once a month in different counties around Ireland. And then we had our first competition about 2 months ago. So me and Siobhan Quinn organised that one. and it went really well. We had 40 individuals and about 20 pairs, and it was lovely.
And there was a great community feeling on the day. Like everyone was really chatty, and there were a lot of people meeting to form pairs on the day and things like that. So it felt really nice going to it.
Yeah, it sure did. Rachel came over and helped me volunteer as one of the judges. So that was really good.
I'm wondering, from the UK Nationals, Rachel, it seems like that is the catalyzing moment for you. I see you involved in all kinds of puzzle competitions after that. Your times start accelerating. Like, were you just excited and joined a lot of competitions, or were you doing something specific to try and improve over this time?
I think a bit like Emma said, I'd got the bug, like going to that first competition and doing well and meeting that community. I just wanted more. And I actually had this like realization, like I actually could be quite fast and quite competitive, and I'm going to try and apply myself to it a little bit more. And I didn't go like all in straight away. Like I think I bought like one EJJ and then loved it, but then couldn't buy any more for a while because they were sold out. So like that was like a gradual thing. Started doing like the UK Puzzle Guzzle competitions, and I just loved all of it, and I just couldn't stop. I was addicted. But I don't know that I'm sort of going at it like from a point of view of training, but more just I'm enjoying doing the puzzles and getting to hang out with all these people, and I just want more of that.
Emma's training ever become like more formalized training ever become part of your thought process, or are you really just happy to like have lots of opportunities to puzzle? And I know you do a lot of puzzles and a lot of different kinds of puzzles, so you know there's an extent to which everybody is training because they're just excited to be doing puzzles, and like that's their happy place to begin with. But did you do anything more formal than that ever?
I suppose like competitions like the World Series, where you know it's going to be a different type of puzzle, then you kind of have to train differently. So that competition had Gibson puzzles, which I wouldn't really do. They're not widely available in Ireland. So I did buy a few of them online, and then Rachel gifted me one as well. And I was able to get a few of them and start practicing them. And even like the circular one, had to practice a few of them a bit more. So I suppose, yeah, I normally just practice for fun, and I would just be doing a puzzle anyway every day. So normally it's not really practicing, it's just puzzling and just throw a timer on while you're doing it to see if you're doing any good or not. But yeah, I do a lot of thousands as well still. I think I still rather doing the thousands piece really.
Quick question for you, Emma. You ended up after UK Nationals doing the Portuguese Nationals?
Yeah, I did.
It seems a bit unexpected for me. Is there a story behind that? How did you end up going there?
There's not really a story. I think I love traveling. Like I'm always traveling somewhere. Like there's rarely a weekend where I'm still in Ireland. So as soon as I can get on a plane and go somewhere new, I'm on it. And I think I just after the UK Nationals, I just wanted to do another competition and meet more people. And just looked them up and saw there was one in Portugal, and I just said to my mom, "Oh, do you want fancy a holiday to Portugal?" So we went over, and I actually couldn't recommend that competition enough. It was so like community orientated. And as soon as we got there, there was like a tour guide who gave us a tour of the city, just as part of the Portuguese Association.
How cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And they gave us like little Portuguese treats and stuff, and then walked us to the venue and showed us where it was going to be. And it was so like sociable the whole time. It was brilliant. And they had like a massive, I don't even know, maybe 15,000 piece jigsaw that like everyone got a small amount of, and you had to make a little bit of that. So that was great. So yeah, I'd really recommend going to different competitions and trying different nationals. It's lovely to meet people from different countries as well. Like I'd consider myself part of the Portuguese Association now. I have so many friends from there. It's brilliant.
And we recently did a 24-hour puzzle marathon, and Emma blew us off in favour of the Portuguese team. She puzzled with them.
Yeah, it had to be done.
Yeah, and this was prior to UK Nationals this year, or is this prior to World Series? I can't rember the
yeah,
timing
it
of
was
it.
about 2 weeks
the
before
weekend
them.
before or something. Yeah.
That seems like a risky choice in terms of its knock-on effects. Was it, or did it not really matter in terms of the next competition?
No, I don't think so. It was just great fun. Like there definitely wasn't much sleep got at all, but it was so much fun. It didn't really matter.
I just ended up having to take a couple of days a holiday the next week before nationals because I just needed to catch up on sleep.
Yeah, I think I was sick from work a day or two as well after that.
Skipping back to September 2025, the World's Nationals, the World's event for 2025. Rachel, this was your first time there. What were your thoughts going into this one? You had a little more experience under your belt than Emma did when she first arrived.
So I guess I knew I was okay, and like I was thinking I'm going to qualify to the final, and then I'm not too sure like about how I go in the final. It will depend on the puzzle and the day. I had been doing more like practice and I compared times and things, so I knew I was like doing reasonably well. I think I had in my mind Emma had come 33rd the year before, so I kind of had that as like a bit of a benchmark in my head of like, well, me and Emma are quite similar now. Let's try and see if I can get 33rd. That's where she was last year. Like that would be a good result.
But you didn't get 33rd.
No.
You ended up 10th, which is 11 seconds behind the 9th place finisher.
Yeah.
Who was you, Emma?
Yeah, it sure was.
And this establishes a pattern we'll see a few more times. You guys are evenly matched, seems like the wrong set of words, but you guys are consistently placing very close to each other.
Oh, we really are. I don't know if you saw it yet, Rachel, but we did a competition this morning in Ingy and kind of EJJ. And
yes,
we were, was it 5 seconds apart? 4 seconds? Crazy. Like you couldn't write it.
We're always like this now.
Yeah, always.
But correct me if you feel like this isn't right, but you guys have somewhat different approaches to puzzling.
Absolutely.
So your path to getting to almost exactly the same place is not the same, which I find extraordinary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've very different like ways of puzzling, but it's actually lovely, and it's kind of nice to watch the live streams and see the different ways we do it, and see that there isn't really a correct way to do a puzzle. There isn't one strategy that will suit everyone. I think it's great to realize that whatever way you puzzle works for you, then stick with that. Because a lot of the time people are asking me for tips and trying to like, how do I get faster? And I think it's really hard for someone to actually tell you that, because you have a way of puzzling, and whatever way your brain sees the puzzle, that's the way you should stick with, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Rachel, I want to get your perspective. We talked about Emma finishing 33rd and sort of being surprised. You finished 10th. How did you feel about that?
I mean, I didn't know it was 10th like straight away. I knew there hadn't been too many claps, and I was really amazed with like, I'm this far up the leaderboard. I straight away look over to Emma because I'm like, I want to know how Emma's done. And she stood up like just celebrating because she's just finished. Because we were actually like, it was actually 6 seconds between us because I had one missing piece. So like we were like super close. And I looked over at Emma and I thought, oh, Emma's finished just before me. And then Emma came over to me and she said, I think you finished just before I did. So we didn't even know which one of us had finished first.
And we actually didn't even care. We were so happy.
We were just so happy. We were like hugging, like talking. Yeah. And then we were both kind of standing waiting for our results to come up on the board. And then they came up like 9th and 10th. And it was like, we're in the top 10.
It was so exciting.
It was so great. And it was so nice that we were like, had that same experience together.
Yeah, it really was.
There's a number of maybe two. There's a number of videos capturing sort of the moment that you guys finish side by side, and you sort of look up at each other and you're like, you finished too?
It's kind of the natural thing now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
One of the most delightful things that I had the joy, I guess, of going to the September 2025 Worlds, and I got Rachel to meet you. You came up and said hi, and one of the more delightful things of that entire experience is that I think I was walking out of the dome after the competition, the individuals competition. I hear from behind me, Rob, and you were like, I finished 10th. It was so great. Like, it was such a wonderful expression of joy, and I was happy to be even just a small slice of that. That was so great.
Yeah, I really remember that. That was like great because you were one of the first people I'd seen, I think. So it was great to like be able to share it with someone.
And I have to say, I was going to bring this up later, but like one of the single most best investments that I have had in terms of branding, it was to give you a shirt, Peace Talk shirt. I've seen that. You wore it to the Cardiff event. You wore it to, I think, the UK Nationals event. You wore it to the World Series event. You know, it gives me a little spark of joy anytime I see anybody's on the live stream. But like, it warms my heart every time I see that.
Well, it's become like I've done really well competing recently, and I've always been wearing this shirt. So now it's kind of like my lucky shirt. I can't not wear it.
That's right. That's right. You just have to. Like, at this point. I need to send you a stack of them. Is the thing. Anything else that of the world's experiences worth talking about?
No, but I think just that evening, like after we'd come 9th and 10th, and we're out celebrating, I think that was when we really we became such good friends during that week, and that was like the pinnacle of it, and that really solidified our decision to like, we want to become a pair now, like we want to go and do this together next time. So I think that was the only thing.
You and I had talked, I think, later about doing some sort of episode like this, and you'd mentioned that you and Emma had paired, and I was like, oh, that seems like amazing. So like, I just want the viewers at home, listeners at home, to know that I've been looking forward to this conversation since then. Like, it's been
so have I, Rob.
So I'm glad that we finally got here, and we're going to go into some depth about the World Series, because this is like a great moment to be talking to you guys because of all of the experience that you guys have had there. But before we get there, I do want to say that just as a heartbeat of the recurring theme that we've been hearing about, in December 2025, you both were on a puzzle guzzle competition. You finished within 4 seconds of each other.
Yeah.
That was the first time I beat Emma.
Yeah, it was actually.
Yeah. It was a momentous day for me.
Did you feel like a victor, Rachel? And did you feel like the vanquished Emma?
Oh, I was very proud of her.
She was.
I knew it was going to happen sooner or later.
I mean, when you guys are just seconds apart to begin with, like you said, it's bound to happen at some point, because 4 seconds is literally the time of any particular weird quirk that happens in the course of an event.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's move forward to UK Nationals this year. Emma, as the reigning champion coming in here,
yeah,
one could say that there was yet more pressure on you, but like if I understand things correctly, there's I don't know if it's a rules change or something that sort of changes your ability to compete here. Would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, they changed the rules this year. So last year, I actually was born in England, and I lived in England till I was 10, and then I moved over to Ireland. So I have an English passport and an Irish passport. So this year the rules changed that you had to be a resident of England to win, or resident of the UK, sorry. But you know what? I think that's fair enough. I didn't mind at all. And I was still able to compete in the pairs category at Rachel anyway, and still able to compete in all the rounds, just couldn't win them. But that's okay, because for me, it's only about competing and having fun anyway, so I didn't mind.
Yeah, I love that you guys have that attitude, by the way. It is it can be easy to get drawn into the competitive side of things and feel both the pressure, but also like the drive that is involved in being competitive. And I feel like the arc over this last year or so has been people, like the prior year, the arc was really people getting heavy into the competition and sort of getting themselves into that mental space and like really hard competing for that, and having a lot of emotional intensity wrapped up in where they position themselves. And I feel like this last year, the arc has really been a lot of loosening of that, where people are looking to sort of have their best performance possible, but do it in the scope of having fun rather than trying to win. Now, there are definitely people who want to win, and not winning is definitely a thing that, you know, in a competition, people are rightful to strive for. But it is interesting that you guys already came in with that perspective.
Although I have to say, sorry, Emma.
Sorry, no, go on.
This year at UK Nationals was my first sort of experience of like how that pressure and like other side of it could feel. Because I had that experience that Emma had like maybe the year before, where I was coming in again, like for the first time into a competition as someone who was like expected to win or do well. And I had that experience of like people wanting to take photos and talk to me, and everyone was saying to me, oh, you're going to win, you're going to win. And like, that really got to me in the qualifier round, like, because we only had like maybe 45 minutes from arriving to when the first round started. And that 45 minutes had been like full of that for me. So by the time I sat down ready for that qualifier, like my head was full of all this stuff. And for the first time ever, I didn't just sit and enjoy doing the puzzle. I had all this like expectations suddenly going through my head, and I didn't like it at all. And it really, I did well still, but it affected how I felt about that puzzle and that experience. And I was like determined that like I don't want that to happen again. So before the final, like me and Emma actually took ourselves off and we sat outside in the fresh air away from people and just chatted and just hung out and just relaxed. And then I felt like I went into that final puzzle with just my old headspace back, and I was in that zone of just enjoying the puzzle, having fun again, and I was really pleased about that.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same, really, that I think if you put too much pressure on yourself and if you're too competitive about it, I think I'd lose the love for the puzzles and lose the enjoyment of it. So I think if you go into it more just having fun and look, if I do well, it's great. And if I don't, I still have fun. Then I think you're never going to lose the love of it and still enjoy everything.
But it turns out, Rachel, you did well.
She sure did.
And Emma, you also did well. It's not like you were a slouch here either.
We were seconds apart as always.
Yeah.
Right. What is it? My note here is 14 seconds. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So continuing the theme here, I think Mari Black was the official sort of first winner. But she wasn't eligible like Emma because she's not a resident of the UK. So Rachel, you were the first UK winner, and then Emma, you were the third crosser of the line there. And so I guess I wonder whether this stress and pressure and the relief of that affects your actual performance, or is it really just like Rachel, you said this a minute ago, which I thought was really nice, that it affects your experience of the puzzle. Do you feel like it's more the experience than the performance, or a little bit of both?
I think it's possibly a bit of both. I mean, it's hard to say because you can never go back and replicate those conditions and know how would you have done if you've been in a good headspace. Right. So it's hard to say. Like, I can't imagine it's helping you think clearly if your mind's just going around all those other things. But I think for me, the more noticeable thing was the performance, like not the performance, the experience of it, and like how I felt and how I enjoyed that puzzle.
So you guys competed in the pairs. Was this your first pair up?
Yeah, we've done lots of kind of practice pairs before. Like when Rachel came to Ireland to help me with the competition, we spent a whole night. I think we puddled till about 1:30 that night together.
And then had to get up at 7 to like set up for the Irish competition.
Yeah.
We just couldn't stop doing puzzles.
No. But it was our first official competition together.
Yeah.
Nice. And you guys finished first. That seems not gratifying, but it seems like it reinforces the idea that this could be a fun thing to do.
Yeah. And especially because it was such a hard puzzle. So doing well on a hard puzzle, like that kind of reinforced it for us. Right.
And on paper, you guys were strong, right? Given sort of how you finished in other competitions. So it was good to see that materialize. I get the sense that you guys get a lot of joy out of just puzzling and then puzzling together. And so probably there was not a lot to figure out in terms of how to puzzle as a pair, but was there?
Not really. I don't even think, we don't really even have a plan like who's going to do the edges or who's going to do what. We kind of just go for it and see what happens.
I don't think we've ever really taught strategy ever. Like,
no.
We just sit down and do the puzzles together, and every time we're flipping the pieces and we're like, oh, who's doing the edge now? Who's doing this? Like, what are we planning? But it just works, like, because we're just relaxed and we're enjoying ourselves.
And do you end up in particular roles, or does it really vary by puzzle or by day, or?
I think because we're both quite happy to do whatever, it just depends on the puzzle. We just say, oh, I did the edges last time, you do them this time, or the other way around. It's really good. Like, I think for this one, it was just such a hard puzzle that there wasn't really a whole section to do. So like Rachel started with the blues and I started with the pinks. But it was just a bit of a torturous puzzle, really.
We were laughing all the way through about how much we hated it. And with our table mates as well, we were like chatting with them quite a lot. We just had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I think we're both the kind of people, like, on a team, all we want to do is build pieces, like, and just puzzle. So like, we don't care what we're building, we don't care what we're given, we'll just put it together. So I think in a pair we're so amenable, like it doesn't really bother us what role we end up doing. I think the only thing I've noticed consistently is Emma is more of a island builder. She'll look at the pile of pieces and be able to just make sections out of the piece part without even really looking at the box, and then they'll just sit there. So I'm more of like a placing in the frame and sort of working out how things go together person, I guess.
Yeah, and I suppose that works quite well together, because even for that puzzle, I was making random birds and then just kind of sliding them to Rachel, and she was putting them into the right section.
Emma's a little production line, just making little islands of things. All right, Rachel, you deal with this now.
Yeah.
And then, Rachel, just to finish off the this year's UK Nationals, you also won the teams, which Emma was strikingly lacking from your team. But you did have Mari Black on your team, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, well, we had a team of 4 UK-based people that we'd competed with at the Cardiff competition, and then one had to drop out very short notice due to like a family emergency. So Mari had actually just messaged me a few days before saying, if you hear of anyone looking for an extra person for a team. And so when this happened, we were obviously like in quite a tricky spot because we had to fill a place really short notice. And luckily Mari had sent me that message. So she managed to come in last minute, and it was a great addition to the team.
I was going to say, quite the fill to have.
Yeah. So it worked out well. And we had so much fun puzzling with Mari as well. She's a great team puzzler.
I can imagine it must have been a lot of fun finishing first in 3 different categories.
Yeah, quite incredible, really.
Did you get the same amount of press coverage that Emma seems to have gotten the prior year? Do you get a lot of sudden requests for interviews and things like that?
Yeah, so the Ravensburger ladies have been sort of setting me up with some magazine and newspaper interviews, and I've got a day in my diary to keep through for a sort of TV appearance as well. So yeah, it is sort of very similar.
Yeah, so you're on the same trajectory that Emma has gone through. How do you feel becoming a celebrity?
A bit like Emma said, like it's just really sort of like bizarre, like like you're sort of celebrity for just doing this like hobby that you've just enjoyed all your life, and suddenly like everyone's interested, everyone wants to know about it. It's really strange.
And it's a celebrity in such a small community that like
it's such really a niche celebrity.
They all know you really well, but then anywhere else in the world everyone's like, who is this?
It's true, but like enough to be like on TV, in magazines and that sort of thing. So it's not nothing.
Yeah. No, it's good fun.
It's funny.
Let's talk about the World Series. I can't imagine folks don't know about it, but just to sort of talk about it, it's an event that happened last weekend in Munich, Germany. It is a different format than what people are used to in a competition, in that it is individuals only. There are 6 puzzles, 3 per day over 2 days, meant to really push at different capabilities with different kinds of puzzles. And the way to win is to have the lowest total score across all of the events, which I think is fascinating. There's a lot to love about this event, I feel like. And so I want to get a sense of how you guys were feeling coming into this competition, given that it's a new kind of competition, it's trying new things. What were your thoughts about this particular competition?
I really liked the idea of it, and I guess only having been to one international competition, I'd done well. But like, what did that mean? Because I just did well on one puzzle on one day. And like, this is a way to prove that you're consistent and that you're good across a range of things. So I thought that like idea was really interesting. I think more than any other competition, I really like applied myself to training for it more than ever before, because of the different challenges and the sort of different brands that we used. I felt like there was more opportunity to practice and to train and to try new skills. So I actually really enjoyed the training process for it. I don't think I was going in with like super high expectations. I knew I would be like reasonably near the top, maybe top 20, 30. But I did also think there's a big group of puzzlers that I know on any given day I could beat them or they could beat me. And actually, it really just depends how the weekend goes. So I thought I'm in that pack, but I don't know where I'm going to end up.
One of the good things about this kind of competition is it takes the one-off out of this a bit, right? Like you don't happen to get the just the best puzzle that works for you or the worst puzzle that doesn't work for you. It is really a way of saying, okay, well, we're going to give you a bunch of opportunities to, to compete in a way that helps us understand not how you are at an individual event, but how you are sort of across a collective event. Emma, did you feel like that was an intriguing competition format?
Yeah, I was really excited. And I think the fact that you go and you get to do so many puzzles because sometimes it's hard when you go to a competition and you only get to do like 1 or 2 rounds and you've traveled all this way and you just want to keep puzzling, but it's just over and around and it's over so fast. So this was great that you got to do lots and lots of puzzles and lots of rounds. And for me, like I don't really have a particular brand that I do constantly. And like I loved that it was used a few varied brands, and even like the challenge where we didn't have a box. So we got one challenge and it was just you just got given the pieces in a bag and you had to make them. You didn't know what the image was. And like I love that because I don't look at the box anyway when I puzzle. Even Victor said recently, I was chatting to him at World Series and he came up and he said, I was watching the live stream of you and Rachel and you just didn't look at the box the whole time, and I was screaming, look at the box.
She
doesn't. So I think that challenge like really suited me, and I really enjoyed that. And I think it's just nice having a different challenge. Like the round puzzle was great as well. And yeah, it was nice that we still got to do all the Ravensburger puzzles the first day as well. But I loved that it was a bit of a challenge having a different opportunity to do different brands.
One of the things that I found amusing is that you guys were sitting right next to each other.
Yeah, we were so happy about that.
Yeah, we were thrilled.
I saw a couple of people who like are, you know, from the same country or whatever sitting next to each other. And I was like, I can't, like, my expectation was not that they set it up that way, but it was just amusing how many different like setups there were of people who were like right next to people that they really enjoy puzzling next to.
I mean,
it worked out well.
Obviously, for us, if it was based on ranking, but we're so inseparable anyway. They're like, it does kind of make sense that we were sat next to each other.
It does.
They probably knew we'd be up chatting if we weren't beside each other anyway, so better just put us beside each other.
So I'm going to start sort of with the end first, because I want to get into the sort of meat of each of the puzzles, and I want to talk about I just want to talk about where everybody finished, so that we can have that in mind as we're talking about these other things. So Rachel, you finished 6th. With over 6 puzzles. It took you 4 hours, 6 minutes, and 33 seconds, which is no small amount of puzzling, by the way. So you finished behind Victor Katspacek, Kati Reiner, Nina Schicks, Veronica Huptus, and Marcia Vandermeer. Emma, you were 8th at 4 hours, 12 minutes, and 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And that was behind Maya von Borstel. So there was one person between the two of you. Again,
There sure was.
You were about 5 minutes over the course of 6 puzzles behind Rachel. And just to finish out the top 10, there was Marketa Frislerova and Inga Sinot as well as the 9th and 10th there. So before we talk about the individual puzzles, I'm curious as to how satisfied you were with the end result.
I was over the moon. Top 10 was something that I was hoping for, but not ever expecting would necessarily happen. So to then come 6th as well. And that was actually, well, we'll get into it later, but I was actually ranked higher earlier in the competition. So I really, during the weekend, my expectations were kind of blown out of the water for how I did.
Yeah, definitely. I was so thrilled as well. I didn't expect to be the top 10. I think even though we've done so many competitions and we're consistently doing quite well, you still never expect it, and you still think, we're not among these top puzzlers at all. And then you go and you're like, oh wow, we did really well again. So it was brilliant.
Because we both said on that first day when we sat down in that front row, it's that's an intimidating row of puzzles to sit in.
It is.
Do we really belong here? And I guess now we know that we do.
You do. I mean, in looking at the broad sweep of the competition, one of the things that really stands out, Rachel, for you, is just how consistent you are in terms of placing. You are the second most consistent person. I did a bunch of stats across the top 76 people, and then I got lazy and didn't do the rest. But you are the second most consistent in terms of placements across the entire thing, right? Which seems like it really leans into the fact that you deserve to be there, right? It is an indicator that none of this is a one-off fluke, right? That this it is not that you happen to get the right puzzle, but given a wide variety of puzzles against the best people in the world, you are extremely consistently at the top of that.
Yeah, I think I kind of knew going in that consistency was a pretty good strength of mine. Because I've always struggled when people say to me, what puzzles do you love? What puzzles do you hate? I'm like, I just like all the puzzles. And I guess this just kind of proved that. It was really gratifying to see that play out. I knew I was never going to be winning any of the rounds, but to be consistently up there or there and thereabouts, that's incredible.
Yeah, and none of this is to underplay Emma, how well you did as well, because what I love about looking at the graph for Emma is that especially the first puzzle, less good for you overall. Day one, less good for you overall. But once we get to the second day of like odd formats and different things, like you move from a already near the top to right at the top. So your progression, I feel like over the course of those 2 days must have felt really good, but it's such a powerful indicator of not a standard Ravensburger expert, but a person who is capable of doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, exactly. Like I kind of knew day two was more what I was looking forward to. I think if I've practiced a lot of Ravensburgers and done a lot recently, then I can be a lot faster in them. But I hadn't had time to practice them much recently. So I kind of knew I was more leaning towards day two and I was kind of like, oh, I can make up a bit of time here. So yeah, I was really looking forward to that. But we got really lovely puzzles. I mean, all the puzzles were gorgeous and they were so much fun.
Let's jump into that. So the first puzzle, day one, you guys are sitting down for the first time, probably a little bit of like just nerves of the competition getting going and what to expect in all of this. The first puzzle comes out. This is the gradient puzzle.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I loved this puzzle. I mean, I love gradient and like gradient skies and things like that are like my absolute favorite. I knew coming in it was going to be a strong round for me, but I also had in the back of my mind that like a lot of people like gradient puzzles. So I knew I would be fast, but I also didn't know where that would place me in the rankings. But I just felt all the way through that puzzle, I just took like a top-down approach. So I literally worked from like the purple all the way down through and then finished at the bottom with the black things. And I just felt like I was like in the zone. Like I can't explain. I've never felt as good puzzling as I did like that day. I found like another gear that day, like the whole day. But I just like my hands were moving quickly. I never felt like I stopped putting pieces in, and I was like feeling great. And then to finish, I think I came, was it like fourth on that puzzle? It was like, wow, okay, like I'm not messing, like I'm actually here to play maybe. Like it was incredible. So I love that one.
Yeah, and I suppose I was quite the opposite to that.
Yeah. We had quite opposite experiences, I think.
Yeah. I love like busy puzzles. The more detailed, the better. The more like random little details, the better. And then this was just not that at all. So I just didn't end up. I like the yellow bit. I think nearly everyone seemed to start with the yellow sun and work with the gradient. And I did everything but that and finished with that. So I worked in the top and then I worked in the bottom and then I did it on the side. And I just had tried to do all the details first and then finished in on the yellow. But looking back, I think I probably would have approached it like Rachel did.
It's interesting because that sounds like how Victor approached it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he's also a person who doesn't like gradients. Yeah.
Emma, you ended up 26th there.
Yeah.
It was a tight competition, and Rachel, you had sort of hypothesized early that maybe this would be a tight round. Turns out it was not the tightest round. It was actually just the third tightest round. So there was actually a fairly decent spread on this particular round. Emma, was your placement here really a reflection of your struggle with this particular puzzle? Or I saw a lot of people sort of start in a more challenging space, and I wondered how much of that was just like getting into the headspace of the event, or is this just this puzzle in your particular affinity for gradients?
Yeah, I suppose it was a bit of everything. Like I said, it wasn't the puzzle that I would choose and it wouldn't be one of my favorites. But yeah, I suppose the first round you're always a bit nervous and yeah, just getting into it and like it was quite early and everything. But no, I was still delighted. Like I still thought I was doing great. And yeah, I was just looking forward to the rest of them. And I think definitely as the days went on and as we got to do more puzzles, we settled into it more, which was lovely as well.
What did you think about having the same seat the entire time?
I loved that.
Yeah, I loved it too.
I mean, we were next to each other, which was great. But then I also felt like I got a real chance to get to know the people sat around me. So Inga was on my other side, and she's another one, like a bit like Emma. We're always so close in every competition that we are in, like, and it can go backwards and forwards. So much like Emma, she's great on like busy, detailed puzzles, but then other ones I can be better than her on. And sitting next to her was like great. She's lovely. So I had a great time sat in that seat.
Yeah, I think it was really nice, and we kind of got to chat to all the people around us, and even say like talk about the puzzles every time, and yeah, it was really nice.
It was great as well, like just to be able to have chat to the same people after each puzzle. And like, I mean, obviously Emma and Inga, like I'm so close in times to, so like you could always congratulate or celebrate with each other. And even during the puzzles, we were talking sometimes. So like Inga saying to me at some points, like, this puzzle and things like that. Or like Emma's chatting to me. And like if I finished before her, I think like on the gradient, she was saying to me, amazing work, well done. And I was going, keep going, keep going. So like it's great. Like to be able to do that the whole weekend was really fun.
Yeah, it was lovely.
How did the format of this play into your sort of the way that you puzzled, if at all? Like, because it was not a one and done sort of competition. And so you could do less well on one and then make that up a little later. I could see it both taking the pressure off of pushing extremely hard, but also every second could matter. And I have heard that maybe it took the pressure off of some folks in the very first puzzle, just knowing that whatever happens in the first puzzle is. So I would love to sort of hear how you feel like this cumulative time format played into how you experienced the competition.
I don't think I thought about it too much, to be honest. Yeah, I was just kind of doing the puzzles and for each one seeing how you get on. And like you kind of had to take each puzzle as its own round. I didn't really try and think about the times or even the ranking. It changed so much from puzzle to puzzle and from day to day. So there wasn't really too much point being too hung up on it early on. You kind of just had to do your puzzle and do your best every single round and then hope for the best.
I think for me, I think I probably thought about it a bit more, and I actually found it helpful, like having the successive rounds. I guess because I'd done so well on that first round, I felt like it gave me such a good momentum, especially on that first day, because you've still got that like buzz when you then sit down to get on with the next puzzle. And I just felt like I was in such a good like momentum that day. So that really helped me. But also like when people clap and people have finished, I didn't have that same like panic of like, oh, someone's finished, because I'm thinking, hang on, I've got like 20, 30 pieces. It's cumulative time. This is great. Just keep going fast. So I actually think I found that really helpful.
Puzzle number 2. This was the repetition puzzle. I'm not going to try and pronounce the city name, but it was Morocco. If either of you have a good pronunciation of that, feel free to stab at it.
Nope.
No.
Oh, I guess I should say, I don't think I did say this. So Veronica Huptus won the first round. She finished in 28 minutes, 39 seconds. The average of the top 76, and I'm going to occasionally toss out stats, and they're always of the top 76 just because that's where I got lazy and didn't go any further. But the average finishing time of that was 39 minutes, 59 seconds. And like I said before, it was the third most spread out in terms of how far apart the people's times were. So this next one, the repetition one, is interesting because it actually really had a bigger impact in moving people's positions around than other pieces did or other puzzles did, which I was sort of surprised by, because it suggests a difference in skill capabilities between a gradient and this sort of repetition that is more pronounced than I expected. Now, it's less pronounced amongst the top 20 people for sure than it is amongst the rest of this. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about this puzzle in particular, how you enjoyed it, but also maybe contrast it a little bit with the gradient puzzle, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed this one a lot more, even though my time wasn't majorly different, I don't think, between this one and the last one. I still liked it more. I think there was a lot more details, and yeah, it was just a more enjoyable puzzle overall. It was a really nice picture, and for a repetition, it wasn't what I was expecting. Like when I heard repetition, I thought it was going to be like, one of them like Finding Nemo puzzles, and it's just the same character over and over again. I was kind of thinking something terrible like that. So it wasn't too bad at all compared to something like that. It was okay. It was kind of only the windows were repeated, but even that they were slightly different if you really looked at them. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with this one for sure.
I think I had the same thing of I was expecting repetition to be a lot worse than this. I was thinking of things like Emma said, I had practiced the challenge Powerpuff Girls puzzle and things like that. And so when I opened it, my first thought was like, oh, there's not too much repetition. And landscape photography, I love landscape photos. Inga, who'd sat next to me, she'd also, a bit like Emma, I think they're quite similar puzzlers. She hadn't enjoyed the gradient as much. And I remember really vividly her turning to me and saying, I know the gradient. I bet you're happy. But like in a really funny way.
There's a little bit of a sky right at the top. And a lot of people, like the gradient people, started right there at the sky.
So yeah, that was really funny. So but I just loved it. And I was like, it's like this puzzle's been designed for me. This is like perfect. I love this puzzle. And with that momentum going into this round of like having just done fourth in the first round, I was just chewing that puzzle up. Like I just felt again like I loved it. Like I did the sky and then the tiles on the floor and then that like middle building. And then filled in all the kind of blurry blue and white on that right hand side. And then I finished with those like windows. But even with the windows, I didn't ever feel like I got massively stuck. So I just felt again great, like I could keep going.
I feel like I have heard you both say that you feel like coming into this competition, the puzzles couldn't be too hard given the amount of time that were given for each of these. I also heard a lot of people sort of prognosticating the worst when it comes to what these puzzles could be. And it sounds like you guys had at least were thinking about like, what is the worst case scenario of this? Do you feel like these are good representations of this category and this was the right level of difficulty, or could these have been more challenging or different?
I think they were quite kind versions a lot of the time of the skill that they were testing. I think the gradient was probably a little more tricky. And I think possibly the repetition and busy was slightly on the easier side. And I think if you were someone coming into the competition thinking that that was a strength of yours, like people like Emma and Inga and Marcia were, I think you might be a bit disappointed that you didn't really get to like press that advantage with a slightly harder puzzle. But I think for me, they were pitched about right.
I think the puzzles are pitched really well. Like it's nice that they weren't too difficult because especially the puzzlers who were a little bit slower and who were trying to just get the puzzles finished in time, they were all really able to, and they were all had a good shot at doing their best time and getting these puzzles finished, which I think some of them, like the last one, was just very hard compared to these ones. It was a bit tougher for them.
Yeah, it is challenging to find that balance to where people at the front feel like they've got something that really allows them to exercise their skills, but people not at the front feel not trampled by the puzzle enough that they're excited to keep going.
Yeah, it's a hard one to get right.
I think my preference would be like possibly to err on the side of harder puzzles. And I think that's the approach that the UK Puzzle Association has taken. But then to like adjust the time limit accordingly so that you still don't have that situation where like not a lot of people finish the puzzle. So I don't know. It's hard though when you're in a compressed format and you've got a certain amount of time. It's hard to take that into the like
it is, and
schedule.
I think we saw a lot of people that were struggling to finish them, especially with the last puzzle, and they were so disheartened at the end.
They really were.
And I do get that they have to give us harder puzzles, especially for the faster people, to make us puzzle faster. And I suppose even to see the difference more, you know, like there's bigger, if the harder the puzzle, there's a bigger difference in times, I think. So I suppose that was important too. But yeah, you do feel bad for people when they don't get the puzzle finished and when they're not doing as well as they thought they would.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if this format, if this competition, this particular competition takes off, if they are able to or interested in increasing the difficulty level as people get a really sense of like, is it appropriate for example, somebody like myself to go to this competition knowing that it's going, like it's the World Series, it's meant to sort of stretch you in a bunch of different ways. You sort of need to be ready for that.
I think they had done quite a good job like ahead of time, like managing those expectations as well. Because like I can't remember the wording they used, but there was some wording on the website about like being mindful of the hour and 15 time limit, like when you're applying to like do it. Like so I think obviously that is the key thing, is managing expectations.
Yeah, definitely.
How did you feel about the turnaround time between puzzles?
I think for us it was quite okay because we had quite a lot of break because we were finished in the earlier half. So then we still had like probably an hour between most puzzles. But I do think if you were one of the ones who was only finishing in the last few minutes, it must have been a different story.
Yeah, especially between like puzzle 2 and 3 each day, like because that was like lunch. And so if you only had like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes to like find food, get it, eat it, and like be back at your table, that's quite tight.
It seems like one of the benefits of doing that, of the short time, is that, Rachel, like you were saying, like you come off the high of one puzzle, you can just roll that right into the next one. I imagine that might have the reverse effect too, is if you struggled on the last puzzle, you might not
that's true.
be in the best headspace. Yeah. So puzzle 3 comes out on the last puzzle of day 1. It's the Farmer's Table puzzle, which is a collection of produce primarily. And it was meant to be the detailed puzzle. It wasn't at all what I was thinking. I'm curious as to if you guys felt like this was a reasonable expression of this category.
I think the way they phrased it on the website, it does match that description. But I do think most people were thinking it was going to be something a little more busy, a little more pick and place. This was still very distinguishable, identifiable sections that you could pick out, sort, build, and like move on without having to keep referring to the box a whole ton. And I think a lot of people were expecting a little finer details. I know there are a few people that around me that were a bit disappointed that it wasn't slightly busier or slightly more detailed. I liked it.
Yeah, I agree with Rachel. I did really like the puzzle and it was a lovely one, but it wasn't what I was expecting for busy, really. Yeah, like you said, there was a lot of big sections that you could pull out, whereas I thought it was going to be more pick and place, but still, it was a really nice image.
I was going to say, Emma, as a sort of self-professed busy puzzle lover, this doesn't feel like it quite scratches that itch.
No, not really.
And another photograph puzzle as well, which was like a bit of a surprise. I think a lot of people were expecting illustration in this round.
Yeah, definitely, I expected some kind of Dutch hell here.
Yeah.
So did the Dutch people. They were hoping for it.
I mean, but that feels right? Like that is a different kind of skill that a different class, like the Dutch specifically, have historically excelled at, and so that's a thing that you want to allow them to stretch their legs in that direction. So I can see, this was the fastest puzzle. And that is sort of surprising for a quote unquote busy puzzle. This had the smallest range between people. Like it was the tightest spread of between the competitors of any puzzle, which, if I had not seen the image, would have been really surprising to hear as the result of the busy puzzle.
Yeah.
End of day 3. How are you guys feeling? Like, I guess I hear people talking about it as being a lot of puzzling, which it is, but also in some senses, it's 3 puzzles, which in any given weekend, a lot of the folks who are going to attend this are going to be doing 3 puzzles in a day, sort of just for fun. Were you guys feeling like particularly worn out on the way into day 2? Or was this like just a fun day of doing some puzzles?
No, I think it was just a fun day doing puzzles. Like straight after the 3rd round, we went to the pub and we were doing more puzzles straight away. So there wasn't much of a break. I think we did like another 500 pieces straight away. So
yeah, it was because I mean, we'd like on a weekend day, if I'm not busy, I'm gonna do quite a lot of puzzles. Like it's what I'm used to, and I didn't mind it at all. Different story by the end of the 2nd day. We'll get to that, but yeah, certainly after the 1st day, I was just itching to go and do some more. Like, and I was like, I want to keep going. This is great. Like,
I often think about comparing puzzling to something like running. And I just enjoy the idea of somebody like a track and field person doing a bunch of running events. And then, after all the events are done, are like, I'm going to go for a jog for a while. Like, I've done all the running. Now I need to do some running. So then day 2, the first puzzle up is the mystery puzzle, which had a lot of people, it seemed like, in a state of concerned suspense. I have to imagine, Emma, in fact, I think you even said this beforehand, you're looking forward to this one because this hits your sweet spot pretty directly.
Definitely. I was so excited for this one and I felt really prepared for this one too, because I have a friend, Deborah from Ireland, and she actually gave me 20 unboxed puzzles. So she took the box away and just put them all in plastic bags, and they were all random brands, and she just gave me them like a few months before the competition. So I've been practicing them and I really enjoyed it, and I don't really look at the box anyway, so I was like, yeah, this is nothing different really. This is just the same as any other competition, but everyone else can't use the box to help them. So I thought it was great. Yeah, it was really fun, and we were so lucky with the image. Like, it was a really nice one. It wasn't hard to figure out what the image was or what the orientation was. it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, this is the capybara's image, and there's an extent to which, like, it's easy for me to say because I'm not actually puzzling on it, but it's a sort of flat illustration with big color
Yeah.
chunks. It seemed really approachable. I actually wondered if they could push it a little harder.
I think it was quite nicely pitched because it was approachable and like you knew what you were doing, but there were like enough little bits where like color was repeated. An example I can think of off the top of my head is like bottom left corner, there's like a pink and yellow like floaty in the pool, and then in the sky there's like a pink and yellow umbrella. And so like there's like enough little things like that throughout the puzzle where like a little tricks and things that like I think it had enough interest without being like impossible to do unboxed. But what do you think, Emma?
Yeah, I thought it was perfect, really, especially when there was a lot of people dreading it for the first time. I think it was nice that they gave us a kind of a straightforward one. And like Rachel said, there was little things in it to trick you as well. But there wasn't any like big color blocks that were the same, or like every piece had some bit of detail on it, which was lovely as well. So yeah, it was a really good one.
Because I was also really looking forward to this round because I had to sort of train myself to start looking at the box when I just started speed puzzling, because I was one of those people that would like put the box away and not look at it when I was doing puzzles previously. So again, it was something that I thought like played to my strengths as well. So I was also like Emma, really looking forward to this round.
It was great to try a new brand. Like I'd never done that brand
No,
before.
me either.
So I thought it was really exciting to try a new one that wouldn't really be available for us to get easily.
Right, that was Anatolian, right?
Yeah.
I watched day one with a bunch of people from my local sort of puzzling competition scene. And one of the fun things about this particular puzzle is that for the first year and a half of our local puzzle competition, which happens every Tuesday in our area, it was all unboxed. You never got an image. So we're just sort of used to doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this speaks to how we do it. Now they've changed that format and now we get them every time, but it was like a throwback. It was comforting in a way. I don't think I mentioned this, so I'm going to go back here real quick. So the farmer's table puzzle, Victor finished that one first. It was his fastest time, 27 minutes, 26 seconds. The average on that was 39 minutes and 12 seconds across the top 76. And like I said, it was the sixth tightest spread. This one was won by Marcia Vandemer at 31:13 with an average for this one of 43:25. It was the shortest on day two, but day two was chock full of interesting challenges. But it was the one that had the biggest spread. So you could definitely get a sense that there are people who are more and less anchored by the image on the puzzle. And I don't think I said this either, but in the detailed puzzle, Rachel, you finished 7th, and that was your fastest puzzle of the competition. And Emma, you finished 14th.
I think my gradient was the fastest one.
Was it?
I think I did that in 31 and I did the detailed in 33.
Well, I certainly believe you over anything that I have written down. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Emma, you finished 2nd on the mystery puzzle. This was your fastest puzzle.
Yeah, it sure was. Yeah, it was my favorite by far. So I expected that.
Yeah, I just love that they took away the sort of crutch that a lot of people need. And you were like, yeah, no problem. I'm just going to breeze through this.
Yeah.
We all knew that Emma was going to crush this round, and she really did.
And then, Rachel, you finished 7th this round.
Yeah. But it was quite interesting because although I came 7th, a couple of the people who'd been ranked higher than me actually didn't do as well on this round.
Yeah.
So I actually moved up into 3rd place after this round, which was quite crazy.
Did you guys have some sort of leaderboard that you could see, or were you?
Yeah, we had like a live leaderboard that you could see.
Yeah, that was one of the few sort of hiccups as far as the remote viewing was concerned, is there was never a leaderboard of any kind. So we couldn't see who was winning on the specific competition, but we couldn't see how that was playing out into competitions overall. So we were just always like, well, I don't know who's in first right now, but I hope I hope the competition goes well.
Because I had to sort of like, I'd gone in thinking top 10 was like my absolute goal, and that would be amazing if I did it. And at this point, I'm on the podium after 4 challenges, and I'm starting to think like, what do I think now? Do I still just think I'm going to aim for top 10, or do I start to like readjust my expectations? But my boyfriend said to me, just you came in hoping for top 10. Just think about that. Don't worry about anything else. Like, you're doing incredible, but just keep riding the wave and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm sort of surprised that you put a lot of thought into where you are like managing your expectations, given how both you and Emma have said, really, I'm here to have a good time. And placement is sort of a secondary thing, but it's not on your mind then.
Yeah, because people say it to you as well. Like, obviously, they can see you're in that third spot, and there's like the third place check sitting on the stage, and like you start to think like, oh, this like, is this something that could actually happen? And I guess I just hadn't thought about it until that moment.
Looking forward to the 2 puzzles that were left at that point, not having done them yet, how did you rate your chances given the sort of unusual formats coming?
I was nervous for the Gibson puzzles.
Yeah.
I'd done some practice, but like I didn't enjoy them. So I was a bit worried about how I would fare. But I guess I was thinking, well, at least now I've built myself a buffer that I should hold on to the top 10 no matter what. That was my goal coming in. So I was going in with a little bit of trepidation, but I think Emma was probably looking forward to them a lot more.
One of the things that I really enjoy is if you look at the graph of the difference in time that Rachael, you had accumulated over Emma, like it starts off, goes up, and then just starts dropping sharply in day 2 as Emma starts making her progress back up against you. Yeah.
I think that's the really nice thing about the competition, though, that it got to show all of our strengths. Like, it's not just one puzzle and you just think, oh, that person's the best at this. It was like, you can see so clearly, like, Rachel did so amazing day 1, and you can see, like, of all the puzzlers, like, what day they did really good and what puzzles they did really well on. And it was really nice to see that, like, everyone has different ones where they will do better on, and it was great.
Because me and Emma are the exact, like, epitome of that, really. Like, on that first puzzle, like, did you say Emma came 26th and I came 4th? Like, so on that one puzzle we're miles apart, and then by the end of the 6 we're right there together again. So that just shows you, like, it all works itself out over those 6 rounds.
Exactly as the organizers were intended. It's a great reminder of, and as you said this at the very beginning of this episode here, is a good reminder of the very different paths that one can take for success. You see people do well in some things and not well in other things, but overall are really great. And it is interesting to see, and you guys included, that the top people don't specialize as much as you would think. Like, you guys have definitely things that you are more capable of doing. Emma, obviously, the mystery puzzle, you were able to blow that out of the water, but throwing a bunch of different formats at you doesn't shake up the lead really a whole ton. Like, it does a little bit, but like, really great puzzlers are really great at a lot of different things. This is what I feel like some people have their trouble getting their heads around, is that you look at somebody like Victor and you try and put him into a box about where he is good. It turns out actually he's really good at pretty much everything you can throw at him. And so this was like a good reminder or reinforcement that the top people are top for a reason, not because they are lucky, but because they are consistently good.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely.
Emma, this was like, you were the number 1 person in terms of made up a wildly different average on the day 2's first puzzle compared to your day 1.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
No, not at all. But I think I was just looking forward to this day more, and I suppose you are much more like settled into it and you're not as anxious anymore, and yeah, really enjoyed it.
So were you looking forward to the circle puzzle as well?
I was, definitely, yeah.
Emma loves circle puzzles.
Yeah, I really enjoy them.
And had you done many Gibson circle puzzles?
I'd done 2 of them. So Rachel actually gave me one at the UK Nationals, so I practiced that one, and then I had got one online as well. So I had done 2 of them before, but I've a lot of Ravensburger circles puzzles I've done before as well, and it's quite similar. There's not like different piece cut, but I don't really look at piece cut anyway, so it didn't make a difference really.
You don't look at image, you don't look at piece cut. What do you use to put a puzzle together? You just flip
the color,
I think,
the pieces.
Yeah, just the color.
Because I disagree with Emma. Like, she said, like, there's not much difference between a Ravensburger circle and a Gibson's one. Like, I completely disagree with that. I find the Gibson's one so much harder.
So talk a little bit about that. What is different? Is it familiarity, or is there something actually different about the structure that throws you?
I think the piece cut is the main thing. So like, partly it's the quality of like how well they hold together and things, but also like this particular Gibson circle piece cut has got loads of like funny little like kind of wobbledy little shapes. There's no distinct edge, whereas I think the Ravensburger one is still like a little more uniform. So it's not quite random cut, but like it's definitely getting closer to that. So I found it a lot harder.
This was, by the way, the Gibson's postcard globe. And so it had a circle with a bunch of different postcards on it, but it also had a grid, but a grid sort of aligned with a circle. So it wasn't like they weren't square. Yeah. When you guys opened up this particular puzzle, what were your reactions to that? Were you excited to do this one? Maybe Emma, it sounds like maybe you're just excited. It's round. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Did this strike you as more or less interesting than you were hoping for?
I was a bit shocked because I wasn't expecting a photograph. Mm-hmm. So when I saw that it was photography again, like they wouldn't be puzzles I'd normally go for. So I was a bit like, oh no, because normally the round ones tend to be cartoons, all the ones I've done anyway. So I was expecting like a cartoon image or an illustration again. But then when you actually looked at it in more detail and started puzzling it, there was lots of like small sections that you could do, and it actually was quite detailed. Like there was lots of different skies and different buildings. So it was quite easy to like pick out different sections to work on. And then at the end, there was an awful lot of blue, which was quite tricky.
I did enjoy seeing people's piles of blue.
Yeah, I thought the edges were quite hard as well. They were, yeah, Rachel struggled with them as well, I think.
Don't talk to me about those edges. I had a horrible experience on this puzzle. I pulled it out of the bag and thought, again, this is great. I love this puzzle. Like I've done these kind of like photo collage pictures from around the world loads of times, and I love photography, and there was lots of little skies, and I thought this is perfect. It suits me. And in all my training for Gibson's puzzles, I thought, don't do the edge first. The edge is hard. Leave the edge. But then this edge had like a white border around it. And so part of the reason to not do the edge is because you can't pick it out the pile very easily with the piece cut. But because of that white border, I fell into the trap of like, I could do this edge. And it caused me a world of pain. I tried it for such a long time. I think Victor said in his interview with Canadam that came out today that he also really struggled trying to do this edge. And I ended up leaving it half done. But then later in the puzzle, as I started just working through section by section, which I think is what I should have done just from the beginning, I started joining sections to the edge and they were overlapping, and I realized I'd done something wrong with the edge because the puzzle was not going together right. And I could not for the life of me work out where the edge had gone wrong. I think I had it for about 25 minutes where like I had things overlapping in the edge. I could not work it out. So it really threw me off for this puzzle. So for me, definitely this was the round where like I think mentally I struggled the most, and I really just didn't feel like I was puzzling as fast as I should be. And I've done it since just to see like if you leave the edge and just go section by section, and it feels so much better. With hindsight, it's a wonderful thing. But yeah, I just don't think I approached it the right way.
They said the white edge on that was actually a misprint, that it wasn't meant to be on it anyway. So
I wish it
hadn't been. Actually, yeah, I think it threw people off a lot.
Fascinating. And Emma, I assume you didn't do edge first for this one?
Yeah, I did like half of the edges first. And then as soon as I started to get a bit stuck, I left it and started doing sections and then kind of came back to it. But I think that was the right way to do it for me, because things like that, I would have just got too stuck in it if I tried to complete the full edge first. And also with the circular ones, like they are a bit bigger, so it's harder if you have the whole edge complete. You don't have as much space to put your pieces, like the panoramic as well. So normally when I'm doing a circular one, I don't fully complete the edge first because you don't have as much room to kind of work around then.
Yeah, we saw a number of different approaches to sort of try and manage the edge, where some people just went ahead and did it. Some people broke it into like parts, so they had the edge sort of together, but like so that they could expand it once they were ready to, but they could build into it. We saw somebody, I forget who, like build half of it, like build both halves like oriented the same way, and then turn the puzzle around and connect it that way. So they had better piece management. So a variety of different options showed up for that one. Rachel, watching you do this puzzle, because you got a fair amount of screen time for this one. I'm sure you were thrilled about that.
No.
You were visibly struggling with it, but one of the things that was fascinating to watch was that at some point something clicked in the last maybe third of that puzzle for you.
It was when I sorted the problem with the edge out, because the whole time when I had that issue, I just couldn't think of anything else.
The shot that we were seeing, we could see Inga as well, and she was ahead of you, and she was, making good progress. And then once that clicked in your head, your hands just maybe double speed, and you caught up to her so fast. Like, it was really like watching two different puzzlers do the same thing. It was quite exciting, I have to say. It was like the amount of speed that you were able to put on at the very end there. So
I think it was just that relief of like, finally I've worked this out. I can go now. I can go, like, because I've been so bogged down in it before that.
So that one was won by Marcha again, 37 minutes, 10 seconds. The average on that was 50 minutes, 44 seconds. And it had a pretty widespread in terms of the number of people's distance apart from each other in terms of finishing. Emma, you finished third, 39-27. Rachel, you finished ninth, reflecting the struggle, but also I think still ninth is pretty good given the amount of struggle you were just talking about.
Yeah.
43-23. That was your slowest aside from the panorama.
Yeah, my worst rank as well, I think.
Ninth, which is saying a lot, right? Like, that's, your face is saying something different than I'm meaning to say. Ninth as your worst rank still seems pretty great.
Yeah.
And this is the puzzle where Emma, if you're looking at the Emma versus Rachel time gap, this is where Emma made the most time back up in terms of that. I know that you guys weren't thinking about this as a competition between each other, but it is fun to just sort of like compare and contrast where your guys' specialty are. Again, because like you've chosen to be pairs, it's really enlightening, I feel like, this whole journey to see where the skills that you guys bring separately to these puzzles. Like why this looks like a great pairing.
Yeah, I think our skills are just so complementary, and like I feel like this competition just really like just illustrates that.
So the last puzzle, puzzle 6, the panorama. It's the biggest puzzle. It's the sort of hardest to manage space-wise. It is the end of day 2. Talk a little bit about, like, Rachel, you're giving me a lot of feedback here. Talk a little bit about this whole thing for me.
I was going into this round thinking, oh, I didn't do so well on that circle. I need to have a good round on the panorama. And I'd really practiced these panoramas. Like, I had a real good plan of like how I was going to manage my space. What I hadn't practiced was open the Gibson's paper bags. And I opened the bag and my pieces exploded everywhere. And I'm talking like 50, 60 pieces on the floor.
Wow.
And like some are under Inga's table, all around my table, under Emma's table, under Katrina Coleman's table. Like,
wow. So I don't mean to trivialize what you're going through here, but that is impressive. I
just like, oh my God, what have I done? And Emma straight away goes, oh, you're giving me a head start, are you?
Emma's got no sympathy.
and
at the same time, I was thinking, do I stop and help her pick them up, or do I keep going there?
Inga was saying the same thing to me. She was like, oh no. And so I'm trying to like get down to get all these puzzles pieces off the floor. And there's like a cameraman filming like towards Emma, and a timekeeper standing right there. And I'm going to them, excuse me. And they don't move.
Oh no.
So I just end up shoving them out of the way because I'm like scrabbling around on the floor under everyone's tables. And I'm sure annoying the hell out of everyone. That's what I was really worried about. That I'm just like, I'm really disrupting everybody. And so I sit down to start flipping the edge. And at this point, my plan of like, I'm going to have the pieces neatly along the top in a line, puzzle underneath, that's gone by the window. The pieces are just everywhere.
Yes.
So I'm like flipping, trying to get my pieces back where they should be. And like, I just think I kicked into overdrive because I was like, I'm behind everyone. I haven't even started flipping. And by the time I finished flipping and built the edge, Inga was still flipping. And I was like, I'd somehow managed to catch up.
Wow.
I just think I had it in my head like, I'm behind, I need to go fast. And I found another gear on this puzzle. Like, I just got my head down, and like the whole time I'd like, when those puzzle pieces like opened and went all over the floor, I think I just wanted to cry in that moment because I was just like, no. Especially because like there's seconds between people. This could like mean the difference between quite a lot of places, like very easily. But I just suppressed it down, and I just had this like, I need to just go. I just need to go. And then I finished in like 5th place somehow, which was like crazy considering. And then like almost immediately like walk off the floor and burst into tears because all of that like stress and adrenaline and like forcing it down, I just like started feeling it all as soon as I finished. And the relief of we'd done all 6 puzzles and it was finished, and like all of that just hit me.
Wow, you had quite the journey with this last puzzle.
I did.
Emma, did you have such a dramatic journey as well?
Well, no, at the start I was just like, oh no, for Rachel. And then I also was trying not to kind of laugh at the same time. I didn't know how to react. So I think that kind of definitely threw it all off, because we were like, oh my gosh, what has just happened? Like, I never saw that happen before the competition ever. So she keeps things interesting for sure. Yeah, and then I also looked at the puzzle and was like, oh my God, this is horrible. So it wasn't one I liked at all.
No.
Like, we had been to the Spring Fest like the day before that was on in Germany at the time, and we had just bought one of these cookies for my brother at home. So I had one sitting in my suitcase, and then I was like, oh my God, I do not want to puzzle this. So it was just such a blurry image, like especially the left-hand side of the puzzle was so blurry. And like that, with your managing your pieces and like the space you have, it was really tight. Like, I put them kind of to the side and to the top, and then had to end up trying to shove them all to the top. And it was just longer than I expected it to be. But I still had a good time doing this puzzle. Like, it was the last one, so I was like, we'll enjoy it anyway. But it was tough. It was a real challenge. It definitely gave us a challenge for the end.
I will say, like, I really liked this image, and I was pleasantly surprised with how many photo puzzles we had in this competition. I feel like they're normally so underrepresented, and I actually loved that blurry left-hand side. I don't know, something about that made sense to me. Like, I started with all of that and then filled in the cookies right at the end.
That's crazy. I did the blurry bit last.
A lot of people did, I think.
Yeah.
This was the Munchable München Hearts, the panorama by Gibson's. Ultimately, that Victor would take the trophy for that one, 55 minutes, 22 seconds. That one took an average of an hour, 19 and 21 seconds. Right middle of the road in terms of how it spread people out. There was bigger gaps between finishing, but those gaps were proportional to how long it took the puzzle in general to run. So what's interesting about this is that this puzzle didn't really have the impact I kind of thought it might in terms of shaking up anybody's positions. Like, it definitely did, where like if you were really close to somebody and you switched positions, the amount of time that you lost because it's just the whole puzzle took longer could be really significant. But like, the people who are doing well did well on this puzzle as well. So I'm curious as to whether you feel like I love that they're doing a bunch of different formats, and I think that if they rotate the formats all the time, that would be a lot of fun. But do we feel like this particular format brings anything new? Like, it definitely does, in terms of, I think both of you had to work on how you arrange your space, or theoretically would have arranged your space if things had fallen out of the bag correctly. Is this particular format one you'd want to keep?
Yeah, I think so. Like, especially when I'm used to doing 1,000 pieces. I suppose it's creeping closer to being like 1,000. Like, I think it would be great if you could do 1,000, but I know space is so limited, it would be very hard. But yeah, I think it's nice to try like a different piece count as well. Definitely.
I do agree with Emma. Like, I think having a bigger piece count is a good test, but I think 1,000 pieces is just too hard to fit into a schedule. So I do think this is a good way to like go towards that. I do think having practiced the space management aspect of it was a real big advantage going in. Like, knowing how to set your table up, that was quite hard. I do think it was the only thing that was a bit of a shame about this one was just how few people finished it, and like having that as like the final note of the competition. Certainly at the like, not at the top end, but at the sort of the rest of the competitors, I don't know if it was the best place for them to end on.
I feel like this would have been a challenging puzzle regardless of where it landed. Like, you could imagine that if you were going to struggle with a puzzle, especially of this size, as we were talking about before, if you put it anywhere else, you might carry that momentum through to the other ones.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And you could definitely look at this and say, well, part of the challenge here is you've just done basically a marathon over 2 days. We're going to throw a hard thing at you right at the end and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely an endurance test as well.
Because I would say, sitting down for this puzzle, I had definitely got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready for this to be the last puzzle now. Like, I was tired out getting towards this puzzle. I don't know if you felt the same, Emma, or if you still wanted to keep going, but
yeah, no, I was getting pretty tired at this stage as well.
I do want to point out that Rachel, you came in 5th, Emma, you came in 6th on this by 7 seconds. So continuing the theme that we've been exploring this entire episode, you guys were just right there next to each other.
Yeah. And that was really a nice way to finish the competition, having that like moment where we finished right together at the end.
It was lovely. And we could celebrate together. Yeah. And it was lovely.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
So overall, what were you thinking about this competition? Like everything that you had hoped it would be, or are there some challenges that you sort of weren't expecting?
No, I think it was really good. It was really well organized. Got to meet so many lovely people from all over. It was brilliant, and like it was a great location. I think it ran really smoothly. Like everything ran on time, which was so surprising. With an event this big, you don't expect it to run on time really. And the puzzles were really lovely. So I think overall, I'd really recommend it. It was a great competition.
And I know there were a few like teething issues, which I think being at the front, we maybe didn't experience the same extent. So some issues with like different tables and lighting, and a few times that like got missed. There was like a few sort of teething things like that I'm conscious that like we didn't experience, but I know that other people did. So I don't want to like ignore the fact that that happened. But I also think, considering this is their first competition, and actually they addressed those challenges sort of as the weekend went on, and you just know they're going to learn from it. So I think it's starting from a great place, and it's only going to get better, is sort of my take on it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that for a competition of the complexity and size, and honestly, the remoteness from where these people were running it from, it came off remotely, as a person watching it from afar, extremely well. And it was interesting to see that they ran into, the problems one does when one puts together an event like this. That suddenly the vendor who is supposed to bring all the tables brings not enough tables, and they seem to have solved that problem.
Yeah.
We were watching on the live stream being like, why are some of those tables look gray? And so, we found out lighting is always hard. Having done a few events where you try and manage lighting is always hard. We did see, I think it came off more contrasty on the live stream than it may have been actually in person. But the lighting definitely showed as being challenging in some places and maybe less so in others. But the problem seems super small. And, that is a great hallmark, an indicator of how well this could go the next time. Once, some of the things that they were doing this time become just the way that you do them, and now you can focus on some of those more edge cases.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, at no point did the roof leak and like those kind of things, like let's like put it all into perspective.
It's true. Would you guys do it again next year?
Yeah, in a heartbeat for me.
Yeah, I would too, definitely.
Were you worn out by the end then? Like, was this a good kind of being drained at the end?
Yeah, I've actually a funny story about this going home.
She has.
I think I was so tired. Like after the event, I was planning to go out and meet everyone afterwards, and everyone was kind of celebrating. And it was like 8 o'clock, and I was like,
it was very fun.
Yeah. I was like, I'll just go to bed for a nap, and I just absolutely could not get up until the next morning. I was wrecked. So then the next morning, I was trying to go to get my flight back to Ireland. And I was walking to the train station, got on the train, and the train wasn't stopping. And I was thinking, this is taking a bit longer than I thought it would. And ended up getting a train to Austria instead of a train to the airport.
Wow, how long a trip was that?
It was 2.5 hour train to Austria to Salzburg, and then I had to get a bus another 4 hours back to Germany again to get a flight the next day instead.
To then stay another night
really
in
shows
Munich
how tired
and fly out the next day.
It really shows how tired I really was after the event.
Were other people hanging around that you could hang out with?
No, it was like in the middle of the night. So by the time I got back to Germany.
I'm curious as to whether you feel like there is something that we can now say about people's capabilities in certain classes of puzzles, or if this doesn't quite show that enough. Like, one of the things you could take away from this is that so-and-so is really good at gradients and less good at these other things. I'm a little skeptical of that, just because it seems like not all the puzzles really leaned into the theme that they were a part of. And sometimes it's just one puzzle on one day. But I'm curious as to your guys' perspective on that.
I think I tend to agree with you, Rob, that it is still just a puzzle on a particular day. And I mean, this being an international competition, you've got varying degrees of jet lag. Some people didn't feel very well, and it's still just your performance on one puzzle. I do think being consistent over the puzzles and getting a decent ranking at the end does sort of say something about a puzzler, that they can cope with lots of different styles and they haven't just got lucky having one puzzle that suits them. But I don't think you can really say much more beyond that.
Yeah, I agree too.
What would you love to see next time? And maybe in terms of change up to the format, but also puzzle types, what would you love to see?
I think I'd love to see a more wide vary of brands. Like instead of the first day being fully Ravensburger again, I think it'd be great if there could be I don't know, another 2 brands instead and maybe just one Ravensburger puzzle, just to mix things up a bit and, really put us to the test.
Yeah, I agree. That would be really nice.
I was of the same mind and probably still am, but I was convinced when I was talking with Lou Jacket, who's one of the 2 people putting on this event, when she was talking about it's nice to have, if you're going to try different images as the challenge, it's nice to keep the sort of underlayer of being a Ravensburger 500 cut the same for all of those, because then you're really just changing the image. Does that hold water for any of you?
I suppose if people are learning off the piece cuts and they know certain sections of the puzzle, is it really testing the skill, or is it just testing the piece cut over and over again? I don't know. It's hard to know.
So if they landed with 3 Anatolians, for example, a brand that few people are familiar with, that might be better in that respect.
Yeah,
it might be a more fair test. Yeah,
or a different Ravensburger piece cut if it was possible, or just different brands so that you have a mix of piece cuts.
But then I suppose the piece cut is a different skill altogether, isn't it? So people who are really strong in that skill are going to want that tested as well. So yeah.
But just having repeating Ravensburger just test that kind of in the background.
Does,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Any other things that you would want to see different?
I think possibly a pairs or a teams version of the same format would be really fun. So I don't know how you'd feel, Emma, but I'd love to do sort of a pairs competition, same sort of format where you get to try lots of different puzzles all together.
Yeah, that would be great, actually. I'd love that. Sign me up.
That feels like that would have to be a different weekend, though, right? I don't think you could do...
Yeah. Oh, surely.
Emma barely survived coming out of this one.
I'd end up in the wrong continent, I think.
What am I doing in the States? Well, let's look forward then. You guys are paired up for Worlds 2026. I was actually a little curious as to whether you guys were going, because I know that Rachel, you had told me that you guys were going to go as early as last year. And I saw that, Rachel, you were signed up, but Emma, I didn't see you signed up quite yet. And I know that
I just haven't got around to it yet. It's just classic Emma again, but I will do it. Okay. I am going.
Okay. And it sounds, my suspicion is, based on all the things you've said during this conversation, that you guys aren't necessarily looking to do any scheming or practicing or strategizing on what you might do at Worlds for 2026. Is that true?
Yeah, I think the only thing we've said is we want to practice 1,000 pieces, because obviously that's the final for pairs. So we want to try and get some of those in. It might just be in Spain, before we get to the final, but that's the only thing we've really mentioned.
Yeah, because I think Victor had said when he was on this a while back that because it's 1,000, there's not a lot of sense in practicing anything other than 1,000, because at a certain level, right? Because if you're a certain level of puzzler, you're probably going to move along into you're going to move on out of the heats and into the finals, and the 1,000 pieces, moving from a 500 to 1,000 piece, the 1,000 piece is really what's going to differentiate your ability to win there.
Definitely. I do think it's kind of strange how it changes, because me and my pair last year, we did a lot of practicing together, and then we only ever did 500s because we were just trying to get to the final. Mm-hmm. But then when you do get to the final, it's a completely different thing doing 1,000 piece. It's not the same at all. So then we hadn't practiced. I think we'd only done 1,000 piece together, and it was so different than trying to do that. So it is kind of strange how it changes. Maybe it should be 1,000 piece the whole way along.
I had the exact same thing with my pair. We've been so focused on qualifying to the final, we'd practiced loads of 500s, and again we had that same shock when we got to the final of how hard the 1,000 piece was.
Given the amount of chaos that happened last year at Worlds, including leaky roofs, Talk to me a little bit about where the World Championship sits in your estimation relative to something like the World Series that compels you to go do both.
I mean, I think like Worlds is always going to be a special place because it was the first competition I ever did,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed it so much, and it's where I've met so many of my amazing friends. So I'm always going to want to go back, and I'm always going to want to do it again. And I think especially from the other side, not just being a participant, because when you're participating in something, it's easy to critique the people running it, and it's easy to find things that aren't right and to find the loopholes, that things that you wish were different. But then when I was arranging my Irish competition, like I realized how hard it actually is. And like it's so difficult to arrange a competition, especially one on that level, for everything to go right. So I think I do have like a lot of pity for the organizers as well. And like I think everyone just wants to do their best and just wants everyone to have fun and do puzzles. So I think as long as you're looking at it that you're just going to the competition, you're gonna enjoy it, you're gonna have the best time you can. I think that's the kind of main thing to take out of it.
I completely agree with what Emma said. Like, I have a lot of sympathy for how hard it is to organise this type of event. And a little bit like we saw at World Series, where Lou and Mel got let down with the tables. Like, last year at Worlds, there was a heat wave and the air conditioning broke. And then there was a hailstorm and the roof leaked. Like, that's not something that any organiser or competition can ever control. And it wasn't ideal, but like, I can see the effort is there to try and improve things at Worlds. There's a new board, there's a new venue, the schedule has been looked at and condensed, and I feel like they are trying to take on board changes. But much like Emma, like it was the first big international competition I went to. I had such an amazing time getting to experience the community, meet people like you, getting to hang out with Emma. I just loved it, and I loved Valladolid, and I'd not hesitate to go back. I guess as well, like I've only been once, and it was such a great experience. So I don't know why I wouldn't want to go back.
Speaking of running competitions, Emma, the Irish Nationals, what's the status on that? Last I heard, it was coming together. I imagine you were heavily involved in that.
Yeah, I sure am. Yeah, we're hoping for November at the minute. So we don't have a definite confirmed date that I can share yet, but it's going to be unreleased puzzles again, which is really exciting.
Wow, that is
And
exciting.
yeah, definitely. And we're also going to allow like internationals to enter, which is great. It's going to be like a much larger scale than the first one was. Well, it wasn't a nationals we did before, but it was just a little competition. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it now and hoping a lot of people will sign up. We're looking forward to meeting everyone there.
First of all, where should people look to get more information when that becomes available?
Yeah, we have a Facebook and an Instagram, the Irish Jigsaw Puzzle Association. So it'll all be posted there, and on my page, the Quirke Puzzler as well. I'll be posting all the information on there too.
And I assume you're not competing in this nationals?
Well, I'm hoping for this round that I'm going to get someone from like the UK organisation to actually choose the puzzles.
I have been drafted in about this.
She sure has. I was thinking I might get Rachel to choose the puzzles for me, and then I can actually compete, because it was so hard at the first Irish competition to be watching, and I just really wanted to go over and put a piece in for someone.
Right. Yeah, this is the challenge of becoming an organizer, is that you don't often get to do the puzzling. The more you get into the world of puzzling, it seems like the less time for puzzling there might be.
Definitely, and especially when I've like won a few nationals, I'm like, I have to win the Irish nationals, or try at least.
I'll be sure to choose you a nice gradient puzzle, Emma.
I was going to say, like the thing is that now if Rachel is involved in this, that you can blame Rachel for anything, and you have to give her credit for anything that works in your favor.
Definitely.
I'm not officially involved yet, anyway.
All right. Well, you guys have been extremely generous with your time. I think it's time for us to move into the speed round. The speed round is where I just ask a few really quick questions. I look to get your quick answers on them, just to kind of get a sense of, how you think about some things. And I think just for the simplicity, let's do that. When I ask these questions, Emma, you can go first, and Rachel, you can go second. Does that work out?
Perfect.
All right. Gradients, patterns, or fur?
Patterns.
Gradients.
I love how consistent that is. Illustration or photo?
Illustration.
Photo. We're probably going to be opposite for everything.
I know.
Yeah, I think
so. Busy or landscape?
Busy.
Landscape.
Round or square?
Round.
Square.
All right, this one doesn't fall into a neat category. Wood or cardboard?
Cardboard.
Cardboard.
Do you guys do much wood puzzling?
No, not really.
I've done one or two for fun, but you can't speed them, can you?
No.
It's a whole different thing to try and speed them. Individuals, pairs, or teams?
Individuals, I think.
Individuals for me too. But it might change.
Yeah. Pairs is looking pretty good too.
That's right. Check in post Worlds. Ribbon cut or random cut?
Ribbon cut?
Ribbon cut for me too.
300, 500, or 1,000?
1,000.
500.
Do you have a current favorite brand?
I suppose Ravensburger. Like I do a lot of them, and they've like got a lot of nice images.
Ravensburger for me as well.
And do you have a current favorite puzzle?
I do. It's Fionn McCool. He's an Irish warrior, and it's a Gosling. It's an Irish brand. It's a really nice puzzle.
We had a really nice puzzle recently at Cardiff called Turtles in the Reef. It was gradient sky and then underwater scene for the bottom half. I really liked that one. Anything like that is a good puzzle for me.
Where can people get more of you?
On Instagram, I'm the Quirky Puzzler.
And on Instagram, I'm Rachael is Puzzled, and it's Rachael with an AEL.
Emma Quirke and Rachael Chambers, thank you so much for spending the time with me. I've had such a great time with this conversation.
Thanks, Ro.
It was lots of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Peace Talks. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at peace_talks, and you can send email to peacetalkscast@gmail.com.